Hey guys, welcome to the Simply Slay Life podcast. I'm Chelle, and I wanted to talk to you all today about something I felt was really important after I did a discovery call with a potential client. And it's basically about what's the difference between therapy versus coaching. And so I thought we should talk about that today. So when I took a discovery call the other day for a potential client, they were talking to me and they were asking questions, and I noticed that the questions started to be more sounding like therapy to me, and so I had to kind of interject and let them know that's not what a coach does, and explain to them the difference, right? And the thing that signaled it to me was because I was like, the way they were posing the questions, it was more, like I said, medical. And I was like, oh, no, let me make sure I let you know. Coaching is kind of like, and so this is kind of how I faced it. So I basically said therapy is for clinicians. Those are the people who are, therapists, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, people like that have that medical background. Coaching is that we help you do the forward work to change you, as in you're trying to level up and get to the next level in your personal life, in your professional life, and you're moving in a direction for self-improvement, reinvention, reinvention of yourself. You're transforming. That's a coach. And so I felt this was so important to distinguish that. Because I know some people do struggle with that, and they may be, I don't want to coach, because they do probably think it has something to do with therapy. And I know in some communities, therapy has a negative connotation to it. So a therapist is going to work on healing something. If you're going through grief, if you're going through some type of depression, anxiety, something that is a medical episode, that's therapy. A coach will work with you to kind of help you. Say you want to start a business, entrepreneurship. A coach will come in, you can hire them, and they'll come in to kind of help you get you on your path. They're going to ask the questions. They're going to work with you to see in sections or blocks. I call them blocks. Little mini steps that you can take, and kind of have an accountability session too. Ask the questions. What are we working on this week? Well, how did that go for you? What was the one block that you saw that hindered you from completing this piece? Those are the examples, right? In the medical setting, yes, they do use coaches, health and wellness. And those can be for people who have like chronic conditions. So let me say, I'll use diabetes as an example. Say you're on some type of medication for diabetes. They've sent you through the dietitian courses or the nutrition courses, and you're still kind of being, I don't understand why I gotta change. I don't understand why I have to do this, or I just don't feel. It seems like a lot, right? This is a lot for me, right? And again, it may not be you need therapy. You just need somebody to talk to you as far as like, well, where are you finding the difficulties at? What steps can you take to break it down so that it feels more convenient for you, more accessible for you? Did you manage to get your 30 minutes of walking? You weren't able to do your 30 minutes of walking? Well, and you might say, oh, it was so busy this week. Okay. How could you have incorporated some type of walking, even if you didn't do 30 minutes? That's what I might ask you. And you might catch yourself and say, well, I actually went walking for 10, 15 minutes today. That's a power move right there. That's a good thing. You got some form of it in. Every little bit counts, right? I'm cheerleading you on to keep you moving. That's a coach, right? When you start wanting to level up and change, that's coaching. When you're going through something and you can't get it on your own, where you know something is wrong, but you don't know what it is, but something is wrong. That's medical intervention. That's clinicians. That's therapy, right? So they use coaches in the medical setting. They use them in the VA. They use them in government sectors, as far as like when even in personal professional settings like corporate America, executive coaching. VA, health and wellness. Government also use executive coaching to try to get those supervisors, managers that's in private sector and public to the next level in the C-suites, in the executive role. They use them. It's a valuable tool. And it is literally that one where you're like, I've been trying to do this, I'm just stuck. Or I have a process in mind, I just need somebody to walk me through to work with me through it, right? And that's where a coach comes in at, right? That's how that works. And so when you're ready to say, I want to start my own business, I want to be an entrepreneur, I need to start moving in that direction, I think I want somebody that's I can bounce something off of. I can talk to them to it. They can help me break it down in blocks. They can help me hold me accountable if I'm falling behind and not doing that. That's a coach. If you decide that the kids are grown, they're out the door, it's time for me. I'm changing for me. I'm doing self-improvement for me. I want somebody that can help me walk with the path of, we're trying to get to the finish line of, it's new me, new day, new self-improvement. I'm going to the next level in my personal everyday. It's time to make some moves. It's time to make some changes. That's a coach. That's me, right? That's kind of how that works. And so I wanted to make sure that I distinguish that for you guys. Another thing I've noticed that when I've talked to clients, I've had clients come in for our first session and be like, okay, so what's the plan? What are you gonna give me to do? And I'll be like, I don't know, what's the plan? I'm not gonna give you anything. I gotta find out, what are you trying to accomplish? And I'm working with you to do that. A coach should never try to tell you what to do, right? That is not their role. This is not a trainer situation. This ain't the gym. A coach is somebody, they listen to you, they hear what you're trying to accomplish, they may repeat it back to you to make sure they understand it in the way they heard it come to them. And then they may ask some questions for you. Y'all have that conversation back and forth. And every time that y'all meet, y'all are building upon it, right? So that you're doing many steps to try to get it accomplished. That's a coach. They should never be trying to give an answer or impose their will on you, right? Basically, they shouldn't be trying to tell you what to do, because they're not you. They don't know you like you know you, right? Now, we all may see some of our clients, the people that are coaches, struggle, and then the appropriate thing that we're supposed to do is say, hey, do you mind if I offer a suggestion, right? I'm supposed to ask you first. And you could say, yes, please. I would like that. For me, I'm going to come back and pose it again as a question and be like, well, have you tried to do this? And you might say, I've been thinking about that, and I just didn't know if that was the right move. And then I'm going to say, well, why? Why wouldn't that be the right move? Let's work through that, right? What part of it doesn't sound right to you? And what can you do to make it sound more palatable to you, that you could do in pieces, if that's just too much for you to do all in one block, right? That's how we work. That's how it's supposed to go. I'm never supposed to tell you, this is what you're going to do, because then that's consulting, right? It should be, I ask, I wait to see if you're receptive and you're accepting of any potential thing I might say back to you to kind of help you along. And once I get the clear go ahead from you, I am going to pose it as a question that makes it be like, what have you considered? That's how I do, right? And if you do run into some, because let me tell you, there are coaches that have that clinician piece to them, right? I went through training with psychologists and psychiatrists. We had some therapists, like counselors and stuff, and some MDs and nurses in my course that I took when we were going through the training. For a couple of the things I went through trainings for to get my certificates and stuff, they were there with us, and so they might recognize something, and then they should distinguish at that point, hey, I think this may be a medical situation. You may want to reach out to a medical professional because I think this may be going on. And they have to designate at that point, I'm putting on my clinician role. This is what I'm recognizing. And so I think you may want to reach out to a medical professional because this may be going on. A regular coach like myself, I don't have medical background. I don't have some type of therapy or counselor or social work background. So if you talk to me and I start hearing stuff like, for example, you saying, I asked, well, what happened? Why weren't you able to get this accomplished? Oh, I had a bad anxiety. It was to the point I thought I was gonna I had a massive panic attack. My heart was pumping. I just don't know what's going on. I don't know. And you start framing to me like that, I'm gonna tell you, hey, I think, again, you may need to talk to a medical professional. That is not a realm I can help you with, but I really do think you may want to speak to somebody about that. And that, as a good coach, is my duty to tell you that, because I don't have that background to diagnose, treat anything, and I'm not going to overstep. So I hope that was helpful to you all, and I hope that y'all can understand why I felt that was necessary, and I hope this helped somebody help make that decision. You know, what works for them. You know, which one do they need? But if you decide you need a coach, because I do health and wellness, life, or transformational, executive, and entrepreneurship, my links are in my bio. I do have an updated email address if you want to contact me. If you're also at the point where you're not quite sure yet if you want to start coaching yet, but you want to find out more about it, or you want to start doing some work on your own, I do have a link in my description for a workbook. It's called the 90-Day Reinvent. Sorry, I got the hiccups. The Reinvention notebook. And I'm so sorry. The 90-Day Reinvention notebook. Let me hurry up with y'all. I'm just hiccuping over here. The 90-Day Reinvention notebook. I use that with my clients, and it helps you kind of put in the work, so that it sets you in the mind frame and the framework of asking you questions. It helps it may help you with your aha moment, where this is where you're saying, this is what I want to work on. This is what I discovered while I was doing this for my 90 days. When I use it with my clients, when we meet for our sessions, we go back over it, and they basically say, okay, this is what I discovered when I was doing this section. And I want to talk about that. I want us to work on that. And then we'll go from there and work out a plan to accomplish that based on what they've noticed they need to what they saw was the area that they was like, this is it, this is my transformational period right here. This is what I want to work on. So again, the link is in my description. It's a PDF. You can download it and work on it, and we can go from there. Guys, help me get to 1,000 subscribers. Give me a like if this resonated with you. Tell me hi in the comments and hit the notification and the subscribe bell. Guys, have a good one. Simply Slay Life. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.